right is right and wrong is wrong. But a lot of people are inconsistent within their morality. You'll have people that accept homosexuality. You'll have people that condone homosexuality. You'll have people that are not homosexuals defend homosexuality, which is a sickness. And it is a curse for them taking on the perverted doctrine of a lie that professed itself to be true. It's not a mental illness. There's no such thing as mental illnesses. For mental illness or mental health or whatever that is diagnosed within the said field are just classifications of something that's already been discovered, something that's already there. Like a human being is just a scientific term for a man or mankind. Humanity is just a scientific term. For the human, the word thereof was originated from the 13th century. And where it's got its origins from. And then a lot of things like animals. It's the scientific mind. It's the scientific term. Birds and now the origins thereof is it could be gathered from many places. But just because a classification uses other classifications of things that's already been classified doesn't mean it's not a classification. For a lot of things that are mental illnesses are just perversions or gifts or talents. Some talents that are good, some gifts that are good, and then curses or perversions and inversions of wickedness. Like pedophilia, which is classified as a mental illness, just as homosexuality was, ironically, right? Nah, no coincidence here. Like I say, you'll find yourself defending pedophilia real quick. And that's not a joke, If you defend homosexuality right now, your mind is that weak. Because think about it. Homosexuality used to be on the same playing field as pedophilia. Even has basically similar history, if not the history of the two reflected by each other. Both were a mental illness. Homosexuality was classified as a mental illness. Now, what happens if they decide to declassify pedophilia as a mental illness? I mean, you can see, just do your research. The same argument is brought upon to bring away and take away the stigma from homosexuality is there with the pedophiles. That's why you got pedophiles being able to even classify themselves as maps. You have to know the direction in which your society is going. There's no, I'm ashamed of this. You'll be waking up 10 years later talking about why are we here? Where did we go wrong? Looking like a dumbass who participated in the whole shit. So you need to know. And to be in the know, you'll know. And when you know, you already know. So, it was on an equal playing field. Pedophilia and homosexuality. Equal playing field. Now, people who are not homosexuals will defend it and call people who condemn it homophobes, which there is no such thing. Everybody wants to say break free from the programming. Okay, let's see if you're ready. What if I call you a pedophobe because you are against pedophilia and you're condemning pedophilia? Is it a hate crime or is it hate speech because you condemn or do not accept pedophilia or pedophiles? But you can say, well, it's not. But under the logic and the premise and the foundation in which this society stands upon right now, I can logically accuse you of hate speech and logically say yes. And the pedophile can logically be defended within your society. Because this is what it brings about, confusion. Because it's a perversion, it's an inversion, it's something that ought not be. And since it's something that it ought not be, it will create further confusion and destruction. That's why it doesn't matter how much policies the Republicans try to put back. If it doesn't tackle the other core issues such as homosexuality, the over-worshipping of the woman, meaning there should be no reason reproductive rights is even in the equation. Since Republicans want to think they got their backbone back, or America got their backbone back, there should be no reason for reproductive rights being in the equation unless if there's a rape, then you can logically argue. Or if the woman in question who is pregnant is going to die or the child itself. Any other argument brought forth is invalid. It should not be heard and do not need to be heard, regardless of the claim, for the claim is not sustained due to the severity and due to the foundation that you sit on as a society with reproductive rights. It can be 100% logically argued that a man should have no responsibility after a child is born if he so chooses. For anyone that is even trying to go down that route can use the argument that, well, all the responsibility and the authority and the decision making has went unto the woman, her body, her choice. Therefore, you already took away all the responsibility and all the authority the father would have had. You basically told him that that child has nothing to do with him. So he should not have no say nor authority in what decision is to be had. And since he has no say or no authority or no decision to be had, then what's the difference for him to suddenly take on responsibility or make a decision or have any authority or any responsibilities pertaining to the child that is now birthed? For the same argument going to her body, her choice can be used once the child is born. It came out of her body, for it belongs to her. So it's her choice, her decision, her authority, and her responsibility. And this can be logically put down within your society due to the foundation you stand upon. It doesn't matter what and how you feel about it. It doesn't matter if it's right. It doesn't matter if it's wrong, because society doesn't go upon good and evil, right and wrong anyway. Because if it did, homosexuality would not be accepted. Slut shaming would not be, removed completely. And abortion wouldn't have made it into the argument, let alone allowed, even for a time. And a lot of this things brings on a lot of things for the people that believe in karma and for the people that believe somebody will reap what they sow within this life. All the rapes and mass shootings or any type of terrorist attack that may or may not happen within the future. How do you know that all the people that will be caught up in that or all the victims of those scenarios will be innocent? Perhaps they're getting their due just karma. Perhaps they're getting what they reaped. And, well, yeah. Perhaps they're getting what they reaped. And perhaps it's their time to get their karma. Perhaps the things that amounted. You ever wonder what happened to the bad and evil things that happen? Like, what happened to the people who commit bad and evil things within the world? That are not crimes as in punishable by man's law. Because they'll just keep on going on and going on until the person decides to repent. But if we're going by this definition of karma and people reaping what they sow, let's go on it and go by it and be consistent with that belief, as in when we can see an outcome and say, well, you made your bed, now lie in it. Well, the woman who, played a lot of men made her bed and lied in it and met a serial killer, and now he raped her and killed her. Or some guy who kept on pimping this broad and pimping her out and would sell her to a multitude of people and all that type of stuff. And one day he gets busted, and he gets his cheeks busted in jail or in prison. Did he make his bed, and now is he lying in it? Did somebody else that have cheated or committed adultery, and that relationship went south, and that person got into another relationship in which the person that they got into the relationship went to sleep with their relative, and they got pregnant by their relative, or the relative got pregnant by them, and now they got a baby, and now this person is alone. Is that making the bed and lying in it? Like, how far do you want to bring forth the people lying in their beds, making their beds and lying in it, or reaping what they sow, or karma coming around to bite anyone in the ass? How far do people want to go? Because it can get deep. And I don't think people that believe in this type of stuff and these concepts will want to get that deep, because they never thought that deep, because it's always coming from, well, oh, this person did me wrong and I want vengeance, but I'm not going to do it, so I'm just going to be put my mind at ease, because, well, then karma will come around. But if karma and reaping what you sow is really real, or so if people actually were consistent with their belief of what they believe it to be, somebody saying, well, people in mass shootings are not innocent. Like Rachel Scott, who died in the Columbine shootings. She had it coming. All the victims of Richard Ramirez, they had it coming. All the victims of Ted Bundy, they had it coming. Karma came around and bit them. They fucked around and found out. They reaped what they sown. But because people don't care about right and wrong, and they don't care about being consistent within their morality, which is very dangerous. Because now a 24-year-old fucking on a 17-year-old is now gross or pedophilic. But the same people will think they have the moral high ground, which there is nothing wrong with a 24-year-old fucking a 17-year-old. Many people will think it to be so because their morality is inconsistent. These people that would have this thought and would share this thought will also condone homosexuality, which is unnatural. Pedophilia is more honorable than homosexuality, because at least it's natural. At least it aligns with the natural order of things. If anything, the homosexual should be strung up high upon a tree and dangling when his feet is trying to grasp to hug the ground, because it's out of order. At least a 24-year-old fucking a 17-year-old, which is not much of a big deal. 18, what is the legal age? So 1 year below, it's like, oh no, 1 year below, this dude's a creep, this dude's a weirdo. But if he was just 1 year above, he'll be alright. How them bugs will. Makes no sense. It's inconsistent. The morality is inverted and perverted. And this bring forth confusion. It has nothing to do with right is right and wrong is wrong. because society doesn't care about right or wrong or good or evil. It just cares about what it likes. Like the reason the homosexuality thing was able to jump off because a lot of people experienced homosexuality in some way, shape, or form. If it wasn't them directly, it was somebody that they knew that experienced it directly. So there's the acceptance thing. And the social thing as well. Because people want to yell all day and long about that we're social creatures, but people don't really realize what that means. Because they're not on the top of it. They're not on the top of their thoughts. Because if they were, they wouldn't be getting played in their minds. Because they're getting played in their minds because you see it every day. Accepting and condoning and defending perversions. As if their morality is consistent, let alone aligns with reality. For their morality is just programmed. And I can show and pinpoint every single program. I can show you scenes throughout movies and TV shows that can pinpoint all the thoughts that they got, all the thoughts they're willing to stand for, all the beliefs they're willing to die for and confess as though it's reflective of morality. Because the program is not their actual ethics and morals. It's not something they actually get behind. It's something they just run upon automatically. It's deeper than an NPC. Because even the non-NPCs thinks this way. Even the non-NPCs run upon a program. Just because you know about the things that are going on within the government, or you know about what they're putting in the water or what they're putting in the food, or you're able to meditate or do this and do that, doesn't mean you're immune or that you got all of your programming gone. For a lot of people are still programmed. I'm still programmed. We're all still programmed. It's just a matter of how deep your programming is and how deep are you willing to go to unprogram yourself. Because think about this. How many people already outraged that I said it's all right for a 24-year-old to fuck a 17-year-old? Even though they're all right, a lot of them now, I mean, since we got the 25, I mean, your brain doesn't fully develop until the age of 25, but other than them cats, a lot of people already accept a 24-year-old being with an 18. But if I say 17, just 1 year lower. Think about that. And determine if it's a programming or something that's natural unto your foundation of your mind. And something you actually came to naturally. And something that something that all beings that are human, and that are man or woman, has come to. Like, you don't have to be programmed to know rape is bad. You don't have to be programmed to know that murder, like if I go up and shoot a bunch of people, nobody has to tell me or teach me that's wrong. But somebody had to teach you that a 24-year-old fucking a 17-year-old is wrong, but a 24-year-old fucking an 18-year-old is alright. It's okay. Something is not on solid ground. The morality is looking a bit shaky. The morality is not going to be standing very long. Because it's not built on something that is consistent. Because it has a rock here, and then it has nothing right here, and then it has a rock there, and then nothing's right there, and it's going to fall right in that hole. Because there's nothing to hold it up. Because it's inconsistent with whatever it's trying to argue. Just like with the reproductive rights. It's inconsistent. But yeah. But a lot of people don't even want to speak this real or speak this true. Because they're scared of what people will say or scared of losing their job or anything like that. You know, you'll have so-called spiritual people that think God is going to provide, or the perverted spiritualists that say, well, my ancestors, my spirit guides take care of me. You don't believe that, because if you do, you wouldn't be holding back. You wouldn't be sugarcoating your words. You wouldn't be like, oh, I don't know if I can say this. Who gives a shit what you can say? You have a mouth. You can say anything. So say it. And the reason why you cannot say it is because you are still under the dominion of those who say you cannot say it. So you don't say it. You obey. And you run automatically on your program. Doesn't matter what you know. It doesn't matter how many people benefit from you. It doesn't matter how many people woken up from you or how many people you've helped. Or how many people you've gotten help from, or how much you've grown within the past year. Aren't people supposed to question everything? I don't see anybody questioning anything except what is popular and what everybody else is questioning, because nobody wants to be outcasted for the things that they say. We all just want to say comfortable truths, and truths that will give us the acknowledgement that we're real and that we're truth speakers and truth seekers and all that hogwash, because we're still attached to our ego, even though we think we don't have one, or that we killed it, or that we have control over it. I'm nobody. Just nobody. For anybody who wants to say, who do you think you are? You're not better than us. You're right. I'm nobody. In fact, you're probably better than I, which is sad. But yeah, that's why I say every time when people ask who you are, who you are. Well, I don't say that because nobody really asked me whenever I came up with this response. But I would imagine when somebody would ask me, who do you think you are? I would like to respond, I'm nobody. Nowhere and nothing at all. Can you just imagine the look upon their face? Well, that would be so crazy. But I already know a lot of people are going to look at me in this video wrong. A lot of people think I'm having pedophile tendencies or think I'm a pedophile just because I said there's nothing wrong with a 24-year-old fucking a 17-year-old, which is another program within and of itself, because people are so offended by these conversations that anybody that's shedding light to anything that pertain these type of topics will be accused as being whatever topic they're covering, such as pedophilic. Or if you're talking bad about homosexuals, you're seen as homophobic or hating gay people. Like, for example, once I mentioned that the age of a consent in a few states across the U.S. is the age of 16. And since I mentioned this, people accuse me of being a pedophile and a predator because I mentioned that the age of consent in a few states in the U.S. is the age of 16. And in some cases, 15. But I'm the pedophile for saying this. Doesn't make any sense. It's just as it's the equivalent to saying something that is perceived to be negative or misogynistic and saying that person who's saying it hates women, while having no problem with the people who beat women. You know, people will go against somebody who says something that is perceived to be negative about women before they try to correct somebody that beat women. For that's another thing in the society that society loves to hide and loves to never talk about. When have you ever heard on the news or seen on the news man that committed domestic violence upon this woman several times was chased by a mob of people and beat up, and this person was shot and killed because they put their hands on this person's daughter or this person's sisters way too many times, or this person's friend way too many times. I've never heard that on the news, or in the rare instances that there are things like that. It's usually isolated incidents. It's just another lie of society and an inconsistency in the morality of society. For it likes to present something while doing the opposite of what it's presenting, or backing the opposite of what it's presenting, or supporting something that's worse than what it's presenting, in which it loses all basis of whatever they are trying to support or go against of whatever they are presenting. Like how, a lot of gang culture and gangsters would like to talk about how they are not for people who commit crimes against women, which is bullshit. You can read, it's documented. Look up the origin of running the train. What they used to do, the GDs are documented in the 1970s for going to rival gang members' girlfriends, kidnapping them, putting them in the trap house, and having their way with them. All of them. Which is where the origin of running a train, and it ain't no fun if the whole team can't hit. So it's inconsistent. As well as keep your pimp hand strong. Keep your pimp hand strong never meant, gotcha, bitch, you want some flowers? It meant keeping your pimp hand strong. When the bitch gets out of line, you hit her. That's what it meant. But the same origin in which these things came from, and the same culture it arises out of, these people will say they are against. People who commit violence against women. Which is untrue. Just as rapists and pedophiles are dealt with in prison. If rapists, for one, were dealt with in prison, when young men are going to jail or prison or something like that, and when people say, don't drop the soap, there'll be no need to don't drop the soap if the people they have to worry about whenever they do drop the soap aren't there or already dealt with. But the people that they need to worry about if they drop the soap aren't dealt with. And if they'll rape a man, they'll definitely rape a woman. And most of them have, because most of them are gangsters. The phrase itself as in gangs run the prison. It's just like saying rapists run the prison or pedophiles run the prison. Because guess who's sex trafficking? Your teenage girls in your local area. It's not always, the celebrity handlers and stuff like that, or the cartel or anything. It's also your local gangs. Tango Blast. 85% of sex traffickers are gang members. That's a fact. Look it up. Get your facts from actually researching instead of watching Gangland and listening to gangsters who want to talk about their heyday but will never speak truth of what actually goes on. But those are a multitude of lies and inconsistencies within the morality of society that is uplifted. And domestic violence stuff too. Domestic violence will never be solved because you know why. I seen a post one day and somebody was like, started a GoFundMe for this domestic violence hotline or something, some type of program they was having for domestic violence victims. It started out, if you did your research upon the thing, it started out as having a lot of support, and then it dropped as the program, continued on throughout the year. It dropped because anybody who's ever dealt with somebody that was dealing with domestic violence knows that these people allow it. And victim blaming is justified. It is the victim's fault on a lot of occasions. For a lot of occasions, these people let these women let these men back into their lives. They let these men still stay within their lives when they can get away. We live in 2025, where a woman can falsely accuse a man of anything, and he will be charged and as well as treated as though he actually did the thing that he is accused of, even if he is a football star or a celebrity. So there's no way in hell you're going to try to convince me that a woman of any caliber, of any race, is not in any domestic violence situation that she does not want to be in. And I've had plenty of women friends in the past that dealt with domestic violence that got their ass beat 24/7. Another thing is, when I was young, they would run away with pedophiles. What is seen as pedophiles now. You know, they'll run away with guys or guys that are in the streets, gangsters, actual gangsters, and they'll run away with these people. And that's what be usually happening on these Amber Alerts that be having, say, a 15, 16, 17-year-old girl run away